guys, welcome back to the channel. It is a rainy day. It's actually a Friday for me. Yes, I'm trying to get another one in the can. I had that mess up. I'd like to have something in the background in case I get stuck working on another vehicle or something like that. You know, on this one, let's talk about my friends. You know, they came and got me on the side of the road. And a lot of people said, hey man, you got 3 a.m. friends. Yeah, I do. And I have 3 a.m. friends because I'm a 3 a.m. friend. If something like that happens and I can hit the door and head that way, I can hit the door and head that way. Now, the thing with my 3 a.m. friends and me as well is none of us expect the other person to hurt themselves to get to me. We understand that in that situation, we may be sitting on the side of the road for a minute. Somebody has to get off of work. Somebody has to figure some things out. We completely understand that. The thing is that we got someone coming. Guys, one of the guys that came and got me when I got clipped by a car on this in Florida. And so what happened? Well, that little car has 430-something thousand miles on it. Basically, the battery died on it. It lost a cell. The alternator was charging it enough to keep it going. It overworked the alternator. It killed the alternator and the battery. Now, the alternator probably had 80 or 100,000 miles on that reman alternator. So, it was coming to the end of its life anyway. Last Saturday, I went into the rigmarole it took to get that alternator. Or one of my older videos, go back and look. But, oh, sorry guys. But, this, my brain just turned off. You know, this happens, especially when you drive for a living like I do. Cars are going to break down. You know, someone said, you need a truck. I got 2 trucks. I have 2 trucks and a Hummer. We did some work on the 4x4 Ranger, got it aligned enough so I can make that drive now if I need to. That Ranger, the 4x4 Ranger, really needs new ball joints and a whole bunch of new suspension stuff. It's from Maine. It's just old and rusty. I'm trying hard. I got all of it. I'm just trying hard not to take it completely apart until I get time to take it apart. Like, hopefully that makes sense. I want to fix my other truck so that I have a way to do things. I also have a tow bar that I've already used once on the Focus. So, if it was to break down and there was no other way, someone could get to my house, get my tow bar, and get my Focus, and away we could go. Get my Ranger, and away we could go. We could figure this out. But, you know, yes, my friends are 3 a.m. friends, and I'm a 3 a.m. friend. And I call them friends on here because I don't want to confuse people when I say my family or my brothers. I want them to know that those are blood related. These guys are chosen. And I'm not going to hide it. Those are my motorcycle club brothers. That's who they are. That's who came and got me. I have other friends that have come and driven and picked me up as well when they needed to, that are not motorcycle club brothers. I had a dude that was in North Carolina that if he thought he could have been of any help, he'd have hopped in a truck and started heading to Arkansas. That is how we are. That's also a lot of military guys. I'm retired military. If something happens to one of my people, I'm out the door. I don't care. If you need a gallon of milk, if you need, you know, if you got a flat tire, if your old lady's sitting on the side of the road and you can't get to her, I'm on the way, and vice versa. I talk so much about friend groups in my everyday life and finding the right people and being with the right people and surrounding yourself with the right people. And I want to make this very clear. The right people are not always the people that go, Yep, I agree with that. 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 If it's something dumb, the right person will look you in the face and say, that's a dumb idea. Now, if you go, I know it's kind of a dumb idea, but I think it'll work, they'll either explain to you how it won't work, or they're going to be with you to watch it fail. And we may point and laugh at you when it fails, but we're going to pick you back up. You know, I got a brother that tells me all the time, you should scrap the old vehicles and get a new one. And I just don't like the new vehicles I like are $80,000, and I'm not spending 80 grand, and I don't want a car payment on a car I don't like. I already got that. I don't want to go into it. But he's not a mechanic, for one thing. But at the end of the day, he's kind of right. My life would open up quite a bit if I scrapped all the old vehicles and just said, you know what, I got a good paying job. I'm willing to work there for another 10 years. Let's go get the Raptor Ranger that I want. You know, that'll be my daily. And then for a work vehicle, let's find a nice Prius and strap all these things that have 1 million miles on them and have two. And I think about it quite a bit, if I'm honest, but we're not there yet. It may happen eventually, but as I've said many times before, my main goal is getting everything paid off. But he tells me this. Now, he doesn't push it. He's not rude about it. He just tells me, you know, this is what I think you should do. And it's great to have friends like that. But again, to have friends like that, you got to be a friend like that. So, you know, all the time I have guys over at my house doing tires on their motorcycle because I have the tools to do it and I do them on mine. So I'm there to help if they need help. When it comes time to put this roof on the house, it's going to be them and neighbors over there helping me do it. And that should be the way it is. That should be a community that gets around people and makes things work. And we're not all the same person, you know? I'll be blunt, I don't even know what their political views are because I don't care, because this is the real world. And in the real world, what we care about is how you treat other people. You know, I don't care if you voted for whoever, you know? If I know that you see a kid on the side of the road that needs help, you're going to stop and help that kid, you're a good person. You know, other than that, we can disagree on other stuff. The other stuff is minimal stuff. The other stuff is, and a lot of times I don't think it's really that big of a deal. And that's as political as I'm going to get. But my point is, we're going to go and help each other. You know? And we got to get back to that, guys. This whole world needs to get back to that. This whole world needs to go, yeah, you know I don't agree with you because you drive a big block and somebody drives a Tesla, and we don't get along because I don't believe in global warming and this person believes in it. But, you know, God damn it, this person's house burnt down and they need food and clothes, and I'm going to help them and I'm going to give them food and clothes. Or this person got hurt and I don't have a lot, but I got 20 bucks, and if that's what they need, that's what they can do. You know, one of my brothers, my club brothers, my MC brothers, he is riding my Harley right now because his is in the shop. That's why I'm on this today and not the Harley. You know, I want to get some more videos on the Harley, and he would have swapped out to the KLR. But man, I would rather give somebody the nicer vehicle and drive my junkier vehicle to a degree and make sure they're good. You know, that's just how it works for me. And if I came to a situation where I needed to borrow a bike, someone would let me borrow a bike. And I know there's risk involved in that. I'm completely willing to write a bike off if my brother gets in an accident. You know, I'm willing to have to make payments on the bike if my insurance does something weird, or his insurance does something weird. You know, I understand that's a risk, and if that happens, he'll never hear a word from me. You know, they'll just have to deal with the fact that I don't have my Harley anymore. That's just how we are and who we are. You know, and if you're looking around and you're saying, man, it'd be awesome to have friends like that, and I don't have any, you might want to find different friends. You know, if you look around and all your friends are complacent and comfortable, you know, I don't like talking bad about people's hobbies. I don't. If you're enjoying your hobby and you're enjoying your life, you can ignore what I'm about to say. But if you're 25 years old and 30 years old and your aspirations in life are, you know, I'm going to play video games is what I do in all my free time and watch Netflix. And then you turn around and complain about how the world is unfair and you can't get ahead. You're not, it's hard for me to feel bad for you. I'm literally crippled. I'm 90% disabled from the Air Force. I have disability tags on my car that I drive with a placard. You know, I'm in pain constantly, and I work 10 hours a day. You know, to make the money I make to be able to afford to do the things I want to do. You know, I lost everything 8 years ago. You know, it was all gone. And when I moved back to Arkansas, my friends that were here in Arkansas, I don't talk to hardly any of them anymore. I think one. I talked to one or two that were still here when I came back. The rest of them were gone. You know, and I was in a depression. I was going through the divorce. I had every reason to just give up. And I kind of did. You know, I ballooned out to 280 pounds. I'm 190 pounds. You know, I'm riding my mountain bike. I try to ride it 3 times a week, you know, to get some cardio in. That's a new thing. I'm trying to do my push-ups and my body weight squats 3 times a week, you know, and I'm trying not to hurt myself because it's real easy for me to hurt myself and then I'm on the couch for a month. But my point is, you know, me and my friends are driven to succeed, and we're going to do everything we can to succeed. And yeah, we're going to have setbacks. Yeah, we're going to have rough times. Yeah, we're going to have all of those. But, you know, we're not going to give up. So if your friend group, you know, if all of you are sitting there just complaining all the time, well, I mean, that's all in good. Yeah. Identify the problem. That's important. You need to be able to identify the problem. But then, what a lot of people forget is you need to be able to find a solution to said problem. If you can't find a solution, then you're just bitching. You know? And again, I'm not trying to be hard on y'all, but that's why me and my friends do so well. You know, I'm around a lot of entrepreneurs. I'm around a lot of people that work for themselves. You know, that's what's given me the drive to do this and stay on this every day like I've been doing. You know, because you have to put the work in at anything to be successful at it. And I'm not one of these guys that can sit here and be like, oh, the video game. No, I know there are people that make money on video games. If that's what you want to do, go do it. But don't complain and blame everyone else. You know, if your friend group sucks and is miserable, they're going to drag you down to sucking and being miserable. You need to find new friends. And I hate to be blunt like that. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, you want to know how I got such good friend groups? That's what I did. I had friends that I loved, but I saw they weren't healthy. I saw they weren't good, and I tried to drag them up. But at the end of the day, I got a daughter I need to take care of. I got bills I got to pay, and I can't let them drag me down. You know? So, you know, if they need help and I can help them, I will. But there are certain people that if they call and they need help, I can't drop everything and hurt myself to go help somebody that kind of put themselves in that situation. And it's hard doing that, especially for me. But yeah, guys, they're out there. You just got to find your right people and try to find people that are going to build you up and push you in the right direction. If you don't feel like that's what's happening, either be like, hey, I don't think this is happening, and I'd like to try to start working towards this, and we need to support each other, or move on. It is what it is. Anyway, guys, I know this last bit was kind of rough, but that's how you end up with these real friends. It just is. You got to be a real person. Don't pretend like you're something you're not. Be exactly who you are. If they don't accept you for who you are, it doesn't mean they're bad people. They're just not right. If you want to be camping and you want to be hunting and you want to be working on cars and you want to go race cars and you want to go do these things, you want to ride motorcycles, you want to go four-wheeling, you want to do those things, you got to go find your friends group that does that, because that friend group is going to push you into doing those things. Because when you start hanging out with those people, you're going to start going there. If you want to be a millionaire and you can find multiple millionaires to hang out with, you'll end up being a millionaire. Because when you surround your people with that, birds of a feather flock together. That is a real thing. I used to believe that wasn't true. Now I see it all the time. Anyway, guys, that'll be it for this one. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. And remember, life's an adventure. Get out there and live it.